want to welcome everybody to the 366th meeting of the BRTB. Meeting's being recorded. Anybody online should experience any difficulties, please say something in the chat box. I ask the BRTB members to turn on their cameras during the roll call and as well for voting. I'll ask Rebecca to start the roll to determine member participation.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Present.
Baltimore City,
Present.
Baltimore County,
Present.
Carroll County,
Present.
Harford County,
Here.
Howard County, Nance County,
Present.
MDOT,
Hello.
is that a yes from MDOT?
Yes.
Yes.
RTA of Central Maryland,
Here.
MDOT MTA,
Present.
Maryland Department of Environment,
Present.
Maryland Department of Planning,
Good morning, Bihui, she's online.
FHWA. Thank you.
All right. Our first item for approval is the minutes from our June meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? If so, can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, thank you.
Are there any edits from any of the members? If not, we'll now have the vote for approval of the minutes. When your name is read, please indicate yay or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Nance County,
Yay.
MDOT,
Yay.
RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay. The minutes are approved. Next is our public participation opportunity where we offer the public a chance to speak to the board. If anyone has comments on any of the action items, please wait for the item to be discussed. Now, if there's anyone who wishes to address the board at this time, please do, or if you're online, indicate in the chat box.
Mr. Chair, no one signed up to speak prior to the meeting. Currently, there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
All right. We now ask for the report on the public involvement activity from Monica.
Hello, good morning. I believe we have a report to pull up.
My apologies.
There we go. Good morning, everyone. So this this morning, I wanted to report to you on some initiatives that we have currently going on and recently going on. The first one is the Bikeable Baltimore Region project, which is a really big, exciting project that we're working on. Next slide. So far, we've had over 400 people participate in this process, which is really exciting. It's a process to develop a bike network for the Baltimore region. And so we're asking folks what would make a really good bike network. And so we've got over 400 people who've participated in our public input website, which is publicinput.com/bikebaltoregion. So far, we've generated, those folks have generated over 230 comments, and we have 110 new folks who've subscribed. We held community meetings in 8 locations throughout the region, and we also had 2 virtual meetings. So we launched the project this spring, and we still have a few more days for folks to participate. So if you're interested, you can go to publicinput.com/bikebaltoregion through this Friday, July 26th, and share comments, and you can scan that QR code there if you're interested. So the next project that I want to talk about is the Transportation Improvement Program and the air quality conformity determination that we had. We had a comment period for this earlier this spring. It generated nearly 210 people participated. We had a lot of comments from folks. We had nearly 70 comments, and those we've responded to and posted on the public input project page and the BMC website and sent folks an email about our response to their comments. And then folks have generated an additional 182 project ideas or needs that they see in the community, safety needs or needs for bike, ped, transit, etc. So we're working, staff are working to identify ways we can address this, and we've shared this all with the board members. So you guys have that to consider for future transportation improvement programs. So in general, the comments on the 2025 to 28 tip, folks were a bit dissatisfied with the current transportation system, and many folks felt like 58% felt like they didn't feel that this was going to benefit their community. The key themes of the comments that we received were to reduce highway expansion and shift funding to transit, increase transit capacity, as well as add more bicycle and pedestrian projects. There was a lot of interest in improving road safety and reducing fatalities as well. So I also wanted to share that this fall, we're going to be returning to the community for phase 3 of a process that we've been running for the Patapsco Regional Greenway Stony Run Trail. We've already had 2 phases of engagement, which has been really exciting, and folks have helped give their input into the where the trail would go. So we're working on a final path alignment, and we're going to be sharing that this fall, and folks will have a chance to answer survey questions, etc., and give information on the amenities that they'd like for the path. So stay tuned for that. You can sign up for the mailing list on our BMC engagement hub. This website for this project is publicinput.com/PRG. That's all I have for this month. If there's any questions, you can let me know.
Great, thank you. Now we're going to move on to the report from the joint meeting that was held by the technical committee and an interagency consultant group earlier this month, and it's going to be presented by Miss Ann Marshall.
Everybody. Good morning. So the Joint Technical Committee and Interagency Consultation Group meeting was held on July 2nd, also an in-person meeting. And first off, the Technical Committee voted on their slate of officers for fiscal year 2025, consisting of MDOT for chair and Baltimore County for vice chair. Next, we moved on to the resolutions to move to the board, and all of which will be heard today. And the first 2 resolutions were proposed amendments to the 2024 to 2027 TIP, including 4 projects from the MDOT MTA and 2 projects from Baltimore County. Next was the resolution about the 2025 to 2028 TIP and associated air quality conformity determination document. The 4th one was about addressing BRTB's self-certification of the regional planning process. And the last 2 resolutions were involving the transportation alternatives and carbon reduction program grant funding. After the action items, we moved on to a presentation where we heard from BMC staff and MDOT staff about the congestion mitigation and air quality performance management program and target setting period. And if anyone here is interested in learning more about that, the presentations are on the BMC website. And we'll revisit this next month as a resolution to approve the CMAQ second mid-performance report and targets. And finally, BMC staff shared information about opportunity zones, which will be used when developing the needs assessment and scenario planning for the next long-range transportation plan. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Now we're gonna move on to our action items. Todd, please introduce the first action item.
Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-1. This resolution is a request from the Maryland Department of Transportation, Maryland Transit Administration to update funding for 4 projects. Now I ask Mr. Keith Kuchar to introduce the resolution. Keith?
Thank you, Todd, and good morning, everybody. As Todd mentioned in resolution 25-1, MDOT MTA is requesting to amend 4 projects in the 2024 to 2027 TIP. Those 4 projects include the agency system-wide preservation project, metro and light rail system preservation and improvement project, MARC facilities project, and the MARC improvements project. This amendment was presented, as Anna mentioned, at the technical committee on July 2nd and was recommended to be sent to the BRTB as presented. And the ICG also reviewed this project at the July 2nd meeting and determined these projects to be exempt according to the conformity rule. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Albert Guiney-Angle from MTA to present the details.
So I'll try to be brief, as we do have 4 projects here, but the basic thing is there are 2 projects that are obligating funding from our 5307 grant. Those are the agency-wide system preservation and metro and light rail system preservation improvements projects. And then there are 2 MARC projects, which are sort of making adjustments based on earlier amendment to move money from the MARC facilities project to MARC improvement project. So if we go to 5307, yeah, so we're preparing to obligate our FY20 5307 grant. So we're putting that money into 2 projects, the agency-wide and metro and light rail system preservation projects. Agency-wide project is about 11.6 million in 5307 funding and 2.9 million in state match. Metro and light rail system preservation improvement is about 35 million in 5307 and 8.7 million in state match. So the agency-wide system preservation improvement project is basically our project to rehabilitate agency-wide systems, facilities, systems, and infrastructure. This particular allocation is mostly related to roof replacements at MTA facilities, and then continues to fund our migration to the MD first 700 megahertz network. And this, as I mentioned, this is about 11.6 million for 7 funding, 2.9 million in state match. And we are anticipating the roof replacements to start in FY26, and the migration to the MD first network is ongoing. We're hoping to complete that in fiscal 26. The metro and light rail system preservation improvement. This is our project to rehabilitate light rail and metro facilities, infrastructure, track, and equipment. This metro projects in this are sort of these ongoing city good repair, street grades, tunnel liners, signaling, rail car replacement, train control, tunnel door replacement and repairs, and equipment upgrades at the Wabash shop. Light rail projects include similar rehabilitation, cable replacement at Central Business District, and rehabilitation of some of the tracks and substations. As I mentioned, this is about 34.8 million in 5307 funding, 8.7 million in state match. And these are really ongoing projects that are lumped together as one system preservation improvement project. With regards to the MARC projects, we had an earlier amendment that added funding to the MARC facilities project that should have been instead added to the MARC improvements project. This is not new funding. This is obligation to FY 2021 37 grant, which is covering the CSX joint benefit projects and Amtrak agreement projects. In that previous amendment, there were also 2 station improvements that were for Laurel and Muirkirk, which are in the TPB region. So this is going to pull those out from the BRTB tip. So we are proposing to move 15 million in 5337, 3.7 million in state funding from MARC facilities to MARC improvements, and then 427,000, 3337, 106,000 state funding to amend out MARC facilities and that would go into the TBB tip from New York and Laurel. And then this also would add $385,000 in 3028 funding and $77,000 state match to address a budget amendment 2018 positive train control project that was previously included in this tip page. So Mark Facilities project is our project to upgrading, construct new Mark facilities to provide a more accessible, convenient, comfortable customer experience. That's where the project is coming out of. And what it was going into is the Mark Improvements Project on the next slide. Which is the our improvements to based on the Mark Master Plan and Amtrak CSX operating agreements. So those type of projects with Carroll interlocking, West Baltimore Lansdowne interlocking, and improvements to Jessup Yard. So the amount that is going to be increased in this project is what came out of the Mark Facilities project, which is close to it, which is 15 million and 5237, 385,000 and 3028 funding and 3.8 million in state match. And this is also a ongoing project with multiple systemic projects within it. That's it.
Can we get a member to move the approval of this resolution?
I have a question about the portable facility. In the past, there was talk of exploration of a head bridge over the river there. Is that still in the works, or is that something that needs a study? Or?
To my knowledge, that study was being done by the city of Laurel. I think we were sort of aware of it and you know, participated a little bit, but the city of Laurel was leading that study.
Okay, thank you. Another question, if I'm okay.
So these four projects are in the 2024 tip right now, and we're amending the tip to increase the funding for these Mark and Transit projects to $300 million approximately. The total cumulative for projects is about 300 million.
That would be, I think that's right, yes.
Okay. So when did the planning start for these projects? I mean, how long have these been in the pipeline and in the system?
The total dollar amount is sort of the accumulated amount of all the small projects.
Understood.
Right, and so it's sort of been ongoing, and I couldn't tell you what the first year that this project, I just don't know.
But 10 years?
Could be, I just don't know, I don't want to say something like that.
Okay. But they've been in long-range plans for a long time. They've been in the tip for a long time. We're amending the tip, and they'll be included in the next 2025 tip as well, as we're funding these $300 million worth of improvements. It's just a process of the planning.
Most of that funding is already spent or obligated because it's been, you know, for projects that were previously identified a while ago, and we got around to them and working on them to keep making the improvements in the system.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Can we get a member to move for approval? And a second?
Second.
Hearing that, we'll now proceed to the vote. First, I'm going to ask the public if they have any questions, and if you are online, please do so within the chat box.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No one's signed up to speak on this resolution in the room. Currently, there's no one asking to speak in the chat box, but we will look around. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, I'll turn it back to the chair.
We'll now proceed to the vote. And again, if you're online, please turn on your cameras when your name is called. When Rebecca reads your name, please indicate a yay or a nay.
Annapolis. Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Indiana County,
Yeah.
and that. RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Thank you.
This resolution is passed. Next action item, please.
Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-2. This resolution is a request from Baltimore County and to include two new projects. Ask Mr. Keith Kuchar to introduce the resolution.
Thanks again, Todd. In resolution 25-2, Baltimore County is requesting to add 2 new projects to the FY 24 to 27 tip. The Wise Avenue and Halliburton Avenue Bicycle Facilities Project and the Torrey C. Brown Trail Safety Improvement Project. This amendment was also presented to the technical committee on July 2nd and was recommended to be sent to BRTB. And the ICG also reviewed this project or these projects in July, and they are determined to be exempt according to the conformity rule. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jessie Bialek from Baltimore County to present the details.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessie Bialek. I work for Baltimore County Department of Public Works and Transportation. I'm here to speak about the amendments for the 2024 TIP. We're here to ask to add 2 new projects. The first is the Wise Avenue and Halliburton Avenue Bicycle Facilities Project. That is to add bicycle facilities along sections of both Wise Avenue and Halliburton Avenue in Dundalk, as well as the Torrey C. Brown Safety Improvements Project, which is to add safety improvements along 7 of our crosswalks that cross the Torrey C. Brown Trail in northern Baltimore County. So the Wise Avenue and Halliburton Avenue bicycle facilities, this will add a new project to the 2024-2027 TIP and is to utilize the Highway Safety Improvement Program funds. It includes $104,000, $94,000 federal with $10,000 county matching, and the project will provide necessary safety improvements for both bicyclists and pedestrians along Wise and Halliburton Avenue. The total cost of the project is $104,000. For the Torrey C. Brown, trail safety improvements, this adds a new project to the 2024-2027 TIP and also is utilizing Highway Safety Improvement Program funds. This project includes $225 federal and $25,000 matching for a total estimated cost of $250,000. This project will provide necessary safety improvements to increase driver awareness of pedestrians and bicyclists along the Torrey C. Brown Trail. We are adding raised crosswalks to each of our trail crossings on Baltimore County-owned roads in northern Baltimore County. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Now ask for a member to move for approval.
Arundel County motions to approve.
And a second. Hearing that, does any of the members have any questions or comments on this resolution? Hearing none, we now ask for any member of the public if they have any questions or comments on the resolution. And for those online, please do so. Make your comment in the chat box.
Mr. Chair, we do have a question from our representative from.
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just interested in your project's funding source. I see this is you got a federal funding from Highway Safety Improvement Program. Is that Baltimore County can directly apply for federal funding for this type of project?
Yes.
I'm just curious. Okay, is that probably this is also a question from MDOT. Is that that kind of funding source can be used for pedestrian bicycle facility? Is that also applied to other jurisdictions? Do you know?
So it's our understanding that if a local jurisdiction has an approved strategic highway safety plan, that makes them eligible to apply for highway safety improvement.
And that is managed by MDOT State Highway Administration.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
No more requests for questions on this resolution, either in the room or in the chat box.
Very good. We'll now proceed with the vote. And again, if you're not here, your camera's on, please. When Rebecca reads your name, and please indicate a yay or a nay.
Annapolis. Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Hartford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Anne Arundel County. I'm sorry, Queen Anne's County.
Yay.
Just seeing if you were paying attention. PennDOT. Is that eight? Is that a yes, PennDOT? Okay, thank you.
All right, the resolution is passed. Next item, please.
Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-3. This resolution is to approve the 2025 to 2028 Transportation Improvement Program and associated air quality conformity determination of the TIP and the long-range plan known as Resilience 2050. I'm going to ask again, Mr. Keith Kuchark to present on this resolution.
Good morning again, everybody. Today, we will be presenting the technical to the board a recommendation for approval of resolution 25-3 for the Transportation Improvement Program and associated conformity determination. No, it's not. Smarty pants. The 2025 to 2028 TIP contains 166 projects, 11 of which are new this year, including 6 from Baltimore City, 2 from Anne Arundel County, 2 from Hartford County, and 1 from Carroll County. These 166 projects add up to just over $6.1 billion, including $2.8 billion from federal funds, $2 billion in toll revenues, and $1.3 billion in state and local funds. The projects in the TIP support long-range goals such as safety, prosperity, and economic opportunity, and they are laid out in our long-range transportation plan, Resilience 2050. Funds programmed in the TIP cannot exceed what is reasonably expected to be available from state, local, and federal resources. This chart shows how TIP funding has varied over the years. Typically, funding in the TIP is pretty consistent throughout the years. This year, the 25-28 TIP is significantly higher because of the addition of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. But otherwise, if that project wasn't added, it would be pretty similar to previous year's funding levels. So this is a breakdown of funding in the TIP with state and local funding shown in orange, federal funding in dark blue, and toll revenues in that teal color. As you can see, the Maryland Transportation Authority accounts for about $2.1 billion. Most of that is for the Key Bridge. The Maryland Department of Transportation, State Highway Administration, and MTA both have about $1.4 billion programmed. And it's also important to note that of the $1.4 billion for MTA does not include the vast majority of the operating funds, which are state funds only, and those funds amount to a little over $5 billion over the 4-year cycle. So there's a lot more MTA funding that doesn't really show up in the TIP. And then locally sponsored projects account for about $710 million. So you also break the funding into categories. This is just shows those 9 different categories. As you can see here on this chart, highway preservation accounts for over 53% of all the funding in the TIP. Again, a big chunk of that is for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Transit preservation is next at about 14%, followed by highway capacity at about 10%. And that's a flip-flop from previous years where highway capacity was higher than highway capacity was higher than the transit preservation. So nice to see that flip. Highway capacity funding has decreased over 30%. from 30% in 2021 to 10% this year. So a big portion of the highway transit capacity funds has decreased. Trying to get through this pretty quick. We also break down funding in the highway capacity category. Most of that funding is for MDTA's express toll lanes. And that accounts for about 75% of the highway capacity funds. 8% of those funds are for a project in the Baltimore Beltway, which expands the inner and outer loop by using the inside shoulders from I-70 to White Marsh Boulevard. So you can see those two projects alone account for about 80% of the funding in the highway capacity category. Oops, I think I'm on the wrong slide, aren't I? There we go. Similar to the highway capacity funds, we can break down the transit preservation funds. 22% of the funds go toward bus and rail preventive maintenance. Another 22% is allotted for the Eastern Bus Facility, and almost 12% is for metro and light rail preservation. So just those three projects alone account for 50% of the transit preservation funds. MTA also uses the public participation process for our TIP to meet the Federal Transit Administration public participation requirements. So we include a breakdown of MTA funding in the TIP by funding category. The largest category by far is the Section 5307, which are capital improvement requests in urbanized areas. And that's used for things such as bus purchases, bus replacements, and that accounts for about $524 million. And the next largest category for MTA is Section 5337. Those are state of good repair funds, and that includes preventive maintenance and mark improvements, and that's about $362 million. CMAQ, or congestion mitigation and air quality funds, make up the third largest category at about $241 million. And those are projects that are aimed at reducing emissions and improving air quality. The TIP summarizes the anticipated impact of TIP investments towards achievement of performance measures and targets. This requirement was first reflected in the 2020 to 2023 TIP as a result of MAP 21 legislation. MAP 21 required MPOs to adopt a set of 25 performance measures, including transit asset management, transit safety, highway safety, and several other performance measures. This legislation was subsequently strengthened through the FAST Act and the IIJA. So I just real quick want to highlight a few projects in the TIP. The Odenton Mark TOD in Anne Arundel County is a new project this year that will replace the existing surface parking with a 1,000 car garage that will enable TOD development on the existing surface parking areas. This is programmed at $53.8 million and is expected to be operational in 2026. In Baltimore City, the Russell Street Viaduct Bridge replacement will replace the existing structure over the CSX Railroad and Ostend Street. The new structure will include ADA compliant sidewalks and is programmed at $32 million this year in this TIP cycle, with a $52 million total. In Howard County, funding has been included for the Patapsco Regional Greenway, Elk Ridge to Guinness Open Gate Brewery project. This will complete a 1.5 mile segment of the overall 40-mile greenway and includes a 10 to 12 foot hard surface trail with a boardwalk over sensitive wetland areas. Howard County received a $1.25 million grant, and Baltimore County is contributing $500,000 for engineering for that project. The I-795 Dolefield interchange in Baltimore County will construct a $144 million interchange at Dolefield Boulevard and widen I-795 from Owings Mills Boulevard to Franklin Boulevard. And that will provide improved access to the planned growth area along Red Run Boulevard. Maryland Port Administration continues to make improvements to the Howard Street Tunnel, which will allow double stacking of trains from the Port of Baltimore and eliminate an existing bottleneck between the Baltimore and Philadelphia. MDOT MTA has included funding for the Red Line, which will provide an east-west, high-capacity, high-frequency line between downtown Baltimore and Woodlawn. This project is still in the alternative development stage. But the governor said that that would be a light rail project. MDTA is now including funding for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. TIP funding is shown at $1.5 billion and is currently listed as toll revenues only as they await funding from federal sources. Adding funding to the TIP now allows MDTA to begin engineering and continue with cleanup and removal of the existing structure. And finally, in Carroll County and Harford counties, there are over 17 bridge repair or replacement projects that are aimed at improving safety and extending the life cycle of those structures. And I do have slides for those projects if anybody wanted to see anything more detailed on any of those later, but we'll move on for now. Again, we used an interactive map feature this year for the TIP, which allows for you to look at specific projects or certain categories such as highways and bridges, like ped projects. So that's been a popular tool over the last couple of years that we've been using. Some of the major changes that we made since the May draft, obviously the addition of the Francis Scott Key Bridge reconstruction project. We also added the Baltimore City ferry service improvements. That was in the 2024 TIP, but the money was not obligated as it was supposed to be, so we had to add that back into the 25 TIP. We also made some clarifications to the methodology for calculating the highway safety performance measures and targets. That was updated from the old methodology that was reflected in the May draft. And then we made some minor changes to some of the chapters in the TIP. Appendices will change, including the self-certification that we'll talk about. Public participation gets added in. We added the earmark projects. So there are just a few minor updates to those. And at this time, I think I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Anna Marshall, our environmental planner, to discuss the air quality conformity.
Thanks, Keith. I'm Anna Marshall. And so along with the TIP, we do the air quality conformity determination. And this ensures the projects in the 2025 to 2028 TIP do not worsen air quality in the region, delay the attainment of the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, also known as NAAQS. It also requires that transportation emissions do not exceed motor vehicle emission budgets in the State Air Quality Implementation Plan, or the SIP, and that's developed by MDE. And it also ties together transportation planning and air quality planning. So the reason we have to do this process is because currently the Baltimore region is in non-attainment for the 2015 ozone NAAQS, which is 70 parts per billion. And as part of this process, we do a regional emission analysis, and this models transportation emissions of NOx and VOCs, or nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds, expected from on-road mobile vehicles. And then the model emissions, in particular horizon years, assuming existing road and transit network, in addition to the TIP and planned projects. And the horizon years are 2023, 2025, 2035, 45, and 50 are showing emissions measuring below all the budgets in the SIP. some of the milestones with ICG this year. We developed a methodology letter which shows which pollutants, which modeling and a model run years are developed by the ICG, and that's then sent to the federal agencies for review. Next, we determine the conformity status of each project, and they're either exempt, non-exempt, or regionally significant. And then the BMC and MDE run the EPA developed emissions model, which is called the MEMS model. And MDE supplies the official results for this. Finally, we approve the regional emission analysis results for public review. And then we go into the public comment period. And this year it was open until June 17th. And staff reviewed all the public comments. And now we're here today after the technical committee and ICG recommended approval of the conformity document.
I think you've heard a little bit about the public comment period from Monica earlier in the meeting, and Anna just mentioned a few things. I'll just say that as part of the comment period, we used our public input site. Our communications team helped with digital newspapers, social media, trying to get a broad reach to the public. All of the comments that have come in have been shared with tech committee, the board, and the interagency consultation group. And thank you, Catherine, for listening to this more than once. Appreciate it as a member of ICG. And as a result, draft responses were prepared, some by staff, some by board members. And then that document went out for review by all of the board, and the board signed off. That was shared about 2 weeks ago with all of the individuals or organizations that commented, and those comments are now online. So
With that, we now ask the board to consider resolution 25-3. Mr. Chair.
Now we look for someone to move for approval. And a second.
Second.
Hearing both, I now ask if any of the members have any more comments.
Just on behalf of MTA, want to acknowledge there's a lot of interest in transit from members of the public. We share that interest. We think that the TIP is a strong document, strong endorsement of transit for our region. We're excited about governor's announcement that light rail will be the mode for the red line. So just wanted to say that out loud.
Thank you.
One other point, I think in the presentation, it was mentioned that we have 166 projects in the TIP, and only 11 of those are new projects that we're considering in this TIP. So we have 155 projects that were previously funded in other TIPs, which are in some form of process of planning, of construction, of design, like the $300 million that we looked at earlier. So when we're considering the TIP, we're not starting from scratch. We have to build on all the documents and the planning and the work that's been done before us. And really with this TIP, there's only 11 new projects out of the 166 listed in there. So I think that's an important component in hearing the comments, in listening to the comments, reviewing the comments, understanding that a lot of these things are already funded, already in process and in motion. And this is just continuing the funding by adopting the TIP. So I just wanted to make that point. So,
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public? And again, if you're online, please put your comments in the chat box.
Sure. Let's see. Last time I checked over at the sign-in sheet, there was no one who requested to speak during this resolution. The pen is not moved, so I'm anticipating it's not a thing. Looking in the chat box to see if anyone would like to request to speak during this resolution. Chair, no one is requesting to speak on this resolution.
Now we'll proceed with the vote. And again, if you're a member, camera's on when Rebecca reads your name, and please indicate yay or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Hartford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Indiana County,
Yay.
MDOT, RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Thank you.
The resolution is passed. Next item, please.
Chair and board, today the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-4. This resolution addresses the BRTB's self-certification of the regional planning process. I'll now ask Ms. Regina Aris to come up and present on this resolution.
Good morning again, and I'm going to share, I think you might have heard, but I'm going to share a snippet of good news. On behalf of the board, we have completed our quadrennial, our 4-year federal certification review, and we're approved. So we're in business. Federal Highway, Federal Transit, and perhaps EPA will attend a meeting later this summer to share the results. So you'll hear more on that. But in intervening years, we follow the metropolitan planning rules, and we do what is called a self-certification. We look at all of the metropolitan planning rules and evaluate whether or not we have addressed all of them and met them adequately. And we need to document that, as you can see in the sizable attachment to your resolution this morning. So we do this in conjunction with each TIP approval. So that's why you see it at this time of year. And just talk about the metropolitan planning. So the types of requirements that we need to address, it's a fairly long list, but there are the planning regulations. But again, the Clean Air Act is a critical piece because of our non-attainment, general non-discrimination laws, specifically civil rights laws, ADA laws, aging, gender, and disability laws, all of those pieces of non-discrimination. There's the DBE, or disadvantaged business enterprise regulations, and equal employment opportunity. So those are all, they have guidance for all of those. Staff are trained. We try to make sure on behalf of the board that we address every step along the way. So in the documentation, the attachment to the resolution, we identify all of those activities and the steps we've been taking on behalf of the board. Part of them relate to work done through the Unified Planning Work Program, or Monica will appreciate if I say the Transportation Planning Budget. And the other part of these regulations we address through employment practices, contracting, and procurement. Changes from the prior self-certification, we continue to reference the Transportation Core. We update the performance-based planning and programming requirements, particularly as the board approves updates to performance measures. We've included references to the budget for the FY 2025 work program, and then also the associated DBE goal for FY 25. We have references to this TIP that has been developed over the last 6 months. Earlier this year, the board approved an updated Title VI program, as well as an ADA self-assessment. And those were the key updates in the self-certification process. And so if that meets your expectations, I'll turn it back to the chair.
Good. Now I ask for a member to move this resolution.
Donnie makes a motion.
Can we get a second?
Anyone with seconds?
With that said, does any member of the board have any questions? Again, I ask for if there's any public questions or comments on this resolution, or if you're online, please do so in the chat box.
Chair, currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Now we'll proceed to the vote again. One more time, cameras on, if you're a voting member, and Rebecca reads your name, please indicate yay or nay.
Annapolis. Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
North County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Hartford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Queen Anne's County,
Yay.
MDOT,
Yeah.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
The resolution is passed. Next item, please.
Okay, today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-5. This resolution considers applications for the Transportation Alternatives Grant Funding Program. I'm going to ask Ms. Charlene Mingus to please present on this resolution.
Good morning, I'm Charlene Mingus. I'm the active transportation planner at PMC. The Transportation Alternatives Program fiscal year 2025 applications were submitted through the MDOT SHA portal in May of this year. MDOT and BMC reviewed the application and conducted site visits as needed. These projects include transportation alternatives, rec and trails under that program, and safe routes to school projects. Funding available for the Baltimore region urban area is $4,738,537. 6 TA applications were received, along with 3 applications flexed from the carbon reduction program, totaling $36,988, $158,000 in requests. Funds available for the Aberdeen Bel Air urban area were $430,525. 1 application was received requesting $120,000. So one of the first projects we go over is for Anne Arundel, a transportation alternatives project for the Blue Water Boulevard shared use path connecting Route 175 and Blue Water Boulevard side paths. It was for construction. The project would construct a 1/2 mile, 10-foot wide shared use path. The purpose would be to complete a major piece of the bike and ped spine network that would provide a safe, comfortable, active transportation access to many key attractions in the area. Anne Arundel County also submitted an application for the South Shore Trail Phase 4A. This construction project would construct a 2.44 mile shared use path connecting South Shore Trail Phase 1 at Waterbury Road and Crownsville Park to near the intersection of Marybury and Crownsville Roads. So the purpose would be to continue building the South Shore Trail and provide bikes and pedestrians an additional lane trail. Next, for Baltimore City, we have the Greenway Trails Network, Druid Lake Park to Lake Montebello. This would be for construction of a shared use path that would be 2.8 miles running from East Drive at Full Service Drive at Druid Hill Park to the northern gateway of Herring Run Park and the Herring Run Trail. This would expand the mileage of the Baltimore Greenway Trails Network and significantly increase the connectivity to existing trails in the area. Next, from the city, we have the Jones Falls Gateway project. Construction of a shared use, 1/2 mile shared use path along the south side of Falls Road, replacing an existing segment that has maintenance needs and has some safety issues. This would resolve a gap in the Jones Falls Trail and would increase connectivity for north-south active transportation network in the city. Next, for the town of Mount Airy, we have a recreational trails project, Rails to Trails Crossing 27, for design of a multi-use trail. This would extend a current Rails to Trails pathway eastward from Watkins Park to Center Street, crossing Maryland 27. For Baltimore City, we had a safe routes to school project for Cecil Elementary for a planning study to work on designs for 100% of enhancements at the school to include bid block, traffic calming, intersection alignments. This will provide safer access to and from the school building and nearby facilities used by students. Next, for Baltimore County, we have a carbon reduction program project flexed over to the TA program for Bloomsbury Crossing. This would be for construction of an at-grade crossing of Bloomsbury Avenue for the Short Line Trail and the former right-of-way of the Short Line Railroad in Catonsville. It's a critical link for completion of the trail as it will connect the eastern or western segments of the trail and support biking in the Catonsville community. And then for Baltimore City, another carbon reduction to TA project. So this is the Greenway Trails Network Druid Lake Park to Lake Montebello. This would be for design for that 2.8 mile long segment, providing safe off-road access for active transportation modes in that area. Next, we have another CRP to TA project for the Jones Falls Gateway. This one would be for design of a half mile long segment of the Jones Falls Trail. So with the recommendation, we recommend the Blue Water Boulevard Shared Use Path, Rails to Trails Crossing Maryland 27, Safe Routes to Schools, Cecil Elementary, and then for the CRP to TA Flex projects, Bloomsbury Crossing, Jones Falls Gateway for the design, Baltimore Greenway Trails Network, Druid Hill Park to Lake Montebello for design. Next, for the Habit of Grace submitted and Safe Routes to School application connecting communities to schools across US 40. This would be for completion of a feasibility study, identifying opportunities for safe and accessible connected bike infrastructure and pedestrian routes from adjacent neighborhoods west of US 40 to the Habit of Grace Elementary, Middle, and High Schools. The recommendation was for funding this project for $120,000. That's a quick run through of the projects as we had a lot of them to go over. Does anybody have any questions?
I had a comment. I just wanted to thank you for recommending funding for that Blue Water project in the South Shore Trail project.
I'd just like to say, really, we appreciate our partnership with State Highway Administration. Our staff been working together, coming together with these recommendations. With that, we turn it back to the chair to have the BRTB consider resolution 25-1.
We've now asked for a member to move the resolution.
Move to approve. Carol.
And now ask for a second. All right, with that said, does any members of the board have any comments? Hearing none, we now ask if there's anybody from the public that has comments. And again, if you're online, please put your comments in the chat box.
Chair, there's no one requesting to speak in the audience, and there is currently no one requesting to speak.
Proceed with the vote. And once again, if you're online, please turn your camera on when Rebecca calls your name and indicate yay or nay.
County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Indiana County,
Yay.
MDOT, RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay. The resolution is passed. We'll move on to the next item, please.
The last action item for today. Thank you all for hanging in there. Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 25-6. This resolution considers applications for the carbon reduction grant funding program. Ask Miss Anna Marshall to come up and present on this project.
Thanks, Todd. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Anna Marshall. So I'll be talking about the carbon reduction program. And before I start, I just want to thank our partners at MDOT and Sean Kiernan. We're really collaborative and helping to review these applications. So the carbon reduction program, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021, also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, established this program. It's administered by FHWA and provides $6.4 billion in formula funding over 5 years for states to develop carbon reduction strategies and for projects to reduce transportation carbon dioxide emissions, including traffic management, public transportation, pedestrian facilities, alternative fuels, and port electrification. The carbon reduction program is a formula program, meaning that federal funding is apportioned among the states, and then states have broad discretion over how to spend the funds. Funds available for fiscal year 2022 to 2024 in the Baltimore region was $13,480,370. In the Aberdeen Bel Air urban area, there was $1,307,736 million. And in the Westminster urban area, there's roughly $300,000 available. And we received 26 applications throughout the region. More information about each of the projects is included in the resolution, and I'm going to run through the projects that we're recommending today. First one in Anne Arundel County is the video detection upgrade. And this project will upgrade existing video detection equipment for traffic management to improve and support implementation of adaptive control technologies on major county road corridors. And the CRP request was $252,000. For Baltimore City, we have the electric vehicle transition, and this will enable the purchase of electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging infrastructure to support the transition of city fleet vehicles from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. For the Maryland Port Administration, we have an electric vehicle purchase for light duty vehicles, and the MPA will replace 11 gas fueled fleet vehicles with 11 zero emission electric vehicles. The vehicles proposed for replacement are primarily used as fleet vehicles on and around MPA owned terminals and properties in the Baltimore area. Another one in Anne Arundel County is the mercury vapor to LED streetlight conversion. And this will support conversion of county-owned streetlights to energy-efficient LED streetlights to help reduce the county's carbon footprint and operating costs. In Howard County, we have the public charging at Howard County Parks. And this one, the county will expand publicly accessible electric vehicle charging infrastructure at permanent sites on county-owned properties to help accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. Another one in Howard County is the Broken Land Parkway Maryland 32 Park and Ride Access Project. And this one will design and construct a shared use path on the west side of Broken Land Parkway, extending from Woods Drive to the Park and Ride lot. And the path will serve as a last mile connection to the regional commuter bus network and carpool opportunities, and it will integrate with the local trail system. We have Maryland 2 sidewalks from Maryland 710 to Walton Avenue in Anne Arundel County. And this project includes design for reconstructing non-compliant sidewalks, installing new ADA compliant sidewalks along both sides of Maryland 2. And this project will also include intersection reconstruction to help facilitate pedestrian crossings. We also have Maryland 450 from College Creek Bridge to the Naval Academy Bridge. And this includes design of bicycle and pedestrian facilities along King George Street to Taylor Avenue. And the proposed improvements include constructing new sidewalk, reconstructing existing sidewalk to meet ADA standards, upgrading signs and pavement markings, pedestrian signal upgrades, installing drainage and stormwater management facilities and landscaping. We have Maryland Transit Administration, the hydrogen fuel cell electric bus procurement. And this includes procurement of 4 hydrogen fuel cell buses and supports state goals to transition to a zero emission bus fleet. And as Charlene mentioned, we had 3 projects that were flexed to the Transportation Alternatives Program, including Bloomsbury Crossing, the Baltimore Greenways Trail Network, Druid Hill Park to Lake Montebello design, and Jones Falls Gateway design. Oops, that is all I have.
Again, I'd like to echo Anna's appreciation. We truly appreciate the partnership with MDOT on this program. Really good program. So with that, we ask the BRTB to consider resolution 25-6.
We now ask for a member to move this resolution.
I have a comment or question really. For the hydrogen fuel cell pyramid, does that include a facility as well?
I do not know.
Okay.
We can find that.
I did wonder though, that seems to be on the list of recommended project awards. The only one that was recommended for award that did not, where the dollar amount did not match the request. And so wondering what the derivation of that award amount is recommended.
First, in response to Sam, this is only for buses. MTA did not ask for the facility. And for your comment, Albert, or question, we hit the ceiling of the amount of money available. And in terms of all the other projects that the team looked at, we had to have a reduced cost for this particular MTA to make that cutoff.
Okay, now I ask for a motion, pass resolution.
Baltimore City moves.
Can we get a second? With that, do any members have any more comments, questions? If not, again, we ask the public if they have any comments or questions, please speak up now. And anyone online, please put your questions or comments in the chat box.
Chair, no one is requesting to speak in the room, and currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
So we'll move to the vote. Keep in mind, if you're a voting member, turn your camera on when Rebecca reads your name, and please indicate a yay or a nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Queen Anne's County,
Yay.
MDOT. Thank you. RTA of Central Maryland,
Yay.
thanks.
All right, the resolution is passed. This concludes our action items for the day. Today's staff will share progress on the development of a vision for a regional network of bicycle and shared use facilities. Ms. Mingus will give the presentation.
Thank you again. Charlie Mingus, the active transportation planner at BMC and the project manager for the Bikeable Baltimore Region project. This project will, the Baltimore region will work together to create a bike network that expands opportunities for users of all ages and abilities. This connected network will support improved safety, mobility, and equitable access to jobs, schools, housing, transit, parks, and other daily destinations. And this vision statement was developed in collaboration with our steering committee, made up of local jurisdictions, who we want to thank for their partnership, and also our advisory committee made up of community organizations throughout the region. The goals of the project are to improve safety and accessibility, advance equity, connect people to places, support environmental and health benefits, consider context, emphasize collaboration, support community development, and set attainable ambitions, as well as maintaining the network. So this project, we've developed a goal, vision and the goals in collaboration with our committees and the community. We are now getting ready to do the criteria development to select the regional network, doing that in close collaboration with the committee. Then we'll go out to the public and get their feedback, and we'll develop objectives and recommendations, which will include policy recommendations, prioritization, and then performance measures to kind of track the progress of the regional network. This project was started in December 2023. We, as Monica mentioned earlier, kicked off our first comment period in the spring, and we're about to wrap that up this Friday. That comment period is really focused on getting people's vision for a regional network, hearing what they, where they feel comfortable biking, really hearing their priorities for this project. The project is scheduled to end in June 2025. So some of the outreach we've done is our consultants and our multimodal planner, Miriam, has gone out to the community and they've interviewed people. We call them handlebar interviews. People are biking, people are walking to get their feelings about biking in the region right now. So we've really gotten a really good cross section of people, and we'll do some more of that later in the project. For online input, as of July 17th, we've had over 1,300 story map visitors, 238 public comments on the project website, and 103 survey responses. As I mentioned, this comment period is open till July 26th. So we're hoping to see some more people give their feedback. Some of the things we've asked is how important is a regional bike network to people. We've received a very positive response to that. So that's really great to see. We've also asked people what would make a regional bike network a success to them. Protected bike lanes, connectivity between destinations, safety and traffic calming, integration with transit, and reduction of driver aggression towards people bicycling. This is what we received online and also the comments that we had heard in the public meetings as well. So mentioning the public meetings, we had 8 open house style public meetings held throughout the month of June, 1 in each of the jurisdictions. It was quite a sprint for the team, so thank you to everyone. And thank you to our local partners for helping us host those meetings. We also held 2 virtual meetings, one midday and the one in the evening, to allow people an opportunity to join at different times. So at those meetings, we asked people, where do you feel comfortable biking? Based on your experience biking in the region, what do you like about biking and what do you not like about biking currently? We also asked people what would make a regional bike network a success to you and what were their top 3 project goals for them. Let's see. So one of the things we also presented at these public meetings and on the story map and project website is our current conditions analysis. So we looked at demand, where are there more opportunities for short trips, building upon the MDOT SHA short trip opportunities areas analysis that they did for the Maryland bike ped plan. We also looked at the existing network of bike facilities. Where's the bike network today? We looked at equity, where the most vulnerable community members are. We also looked at the MDOT level of traffic stress analysis of all roads and bike facilities in the region. So this looks at how comfortable or how stressful a road or a bikeway tends to be for people based on the number of lanes, the posted speed limit, and the traffic volume. So that helps us get an idea of where there are locations that people would prefer to bike or may feel less comfortable. We also looked at mode share, where people are biking now, and then also a safety analysis, analyzing where crashes involving bicyclists are taking place. So this is a short trip opportunities area where people are biking. It's based on population and employment density, transit and school coverage, zero-hour households. This analysis, you can look at it on the story map and zoom in on different locations or plug in your address if you want to look near your home or work. These analyses will be layered on top of each other as we look at identifying the regional network. So this one and the next few I'll show are kind of the top important ones. We have the Vulnerable Population Index. It measures community vulnerability based on 7 populations: low income, racial minorities, Hispanic, Latino, people living with a disability, people over the age of 75, people who don't speak English well, and people without access to a car. So as I said, we're in the process of looking at those different current conditions analysis, taking in the feedback that we've received so far, but we'll get to the end of this week. And then we just met with our steering committee to kind of go over this analysis with them and the criteria to select regional network. We have a meeting with our advisory committee, the community organizations and groups this Thursday to get their feedback as well. So we'll identify that network and bring that out to the public in the fall of this year. We'll also identify objectives. We'll then hold steering and advisory committee meetings are held throughout key points throughout the project. We'll finalize the regional bike network next year, as I mentioned. This will include development of strategies and recommendations, prioritization, cost estimates, other things like that. And the final Bikeable Baltimore Region Plan will be completed, estimated June 2025.
Any comments or questions from members about this activity?
Just want to commend you on your work. We're really excited about the results of the study. I think it'll be very helpful in allowing us to prioritize projects on a regional level as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, likewise, we appreciate you coming over to Queen Anne's County for our local meeting and bringing out our citizens. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. You guys
We're
have
very
been,
excited about the project.
thank you. You guys have been an incredible partner, so we really appreciate that so much. Great.
Okay, is there any other business to come before the board today?
Nothing from staff.
Hearing none, we'll call a vote to close the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The next meeting of the BRTB will be held virtually on August 27th. Thank you.
1 second. Bihoy, do you have a question?
I'm sorry. Yes, I do. Yeah, it's a very exciting project for the Baltimore region bike network studies and all that. It's very specific. I wonder, have you heard any public interest to see any bicycle pedestrian connections, in the vicinity of Key Bridge? I understand that the land use on both sides of the Key Bridge is heavy industrial land use and warehousing. But if you look at the bicycle connection, you have 3 major highways: Key Bridge, Tunnel, and I-95, and then you don't have direct connection between that, north and south side. I wonder, have you heard any agency comments or any public interest for that potential connection? I'm just curious.
So one thing I didn't emphasize was we are taking the plans from the local jurisdiction, so we're not building our own new plans for facilities, because we know the local jurisdictions have gone through a very extensive process to hear from the public and like Fed master plans. Just saying that part. But we have heard a little bit. We've had, I think, as I've gone through the comments, I've seen 1 or 2 asking that question, but we haven't had an overwhelming amount of questions about that.
Okay. Right, thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, folks. See you next August 27th for virtual meeting.